lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds. And when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember.
Live from the Alabama Superspeedway in Talladega, Alabama. Welcome to round number 10 of the iRacing Superspeedway series. Tony Capaswell at the booth with you for this one. Thank you so much for making us part of your Friday evening. As hot lap session underway right now. Everybody finishing up their drafting practice. Looking like 19 trucks in the infield for tonight's event. We are past the halfway mark of the regular season. Only 1 month left till we kick off the playoffs. Of course, trucks this week, next gen in 2 weeks, as we are going to be off for Black Friday here in the States, Thanksgiving weekend. When we come back here at Talladega in the next gens, and then we go to Xfinity trucks and Indy cars. to round out the regular season. And actually, I'm sorry, it looks like back-to-back trucks, possibly. Either way, round number 10, hot laps getting ready to wind on down now. If you haven't done so already, let us know who you're pulling for tonight. Give this video a thumbs up because it really does help share these videos around with the YouTube algorithm. As just last-minute adjustments being made. Last little bit of drafting help to figure out what they've got, what types of runs they're going to be able to get here tonight. And some guys laying down some solo qualifying passes just to see where they're going to stack up at the start of this. But we all know it's not where you start one of these plate races, it's where you finish it. Still a couple guys left to get on the board here tonight, looking to get on the board tonight. Jason Papp in the 1 is one of them. And apparently Greg McConey not here tonight. So that just moves him one race later to where he could try to punch his ticket into the playoffs. James Lowe won again last week. Michael Anthony has won. Chris Worrell has won. I believe Brian Chu has also won for that team. Connor Trifari making his return to the series here tonight. As I'm just checking to see who's new and who's not. Austin Collins making another start here. Mark McFadden back with the series again. Brian Tarnowski back running on a semi-full-time basis. As looks like hot lap session getting ready to wind on down here. As we get ready to head on over into the qualifying session. Just waiting for the last couple seconds to click off. There they go now. Practice session done and dusted. As everybody rolling off for tech in the qualifying session. Scott Warren lining up, Brian Tarnowski lining up. Let's take a quick look at the weather conditions coming in tonight. There you see them on the right of your screen. 78-degree ambient air temperature, 110-degree track temperature, 38% relative humidity. Pretty decent stats right now for Talladega. As we are following on board with the Toyota of Brian Tarnowski. Shane Posey also out on track. There he is. Ed DeBoer in a Ford tonight. There's Joe Gautier's Monster Energy Chevy. Michael Anthony's Toyota is with us. Waiting on a lot of guys to start to make their way around. Looks like Tarnowski going to be one of the first ones to take the green. Kind of different qualifying than we're used to seeing in many of the other divisions that we broadcast as one and done here. Only one lap per truck for qualifying. Shane Posey just went purple in the first sector on his first flyer. He and Tarnowski are going to basically drag race right now. Solo qualifying, so only one car is going to be able to be seen at a time by us. Coming to the stripe. Posey over Tarnowski by 20 thousandths. Good grief. Let's take a look at Michael Anthony as he's coming through 3 and 4 right now with a good head of steam. Joe Gautier jumps up to 4th. Michael Anthony goes 2nd quick so far. Ed DeBoer now jumps up to 4th quick. Ryan Decker coming around through 3 and 4 in the Skittles Toyota. Well, that's something different. We would normally see Ryan in a Chevy, but rocking the Toyota colors here tonight. Trying something different. Decker sets new quick time. Brad Peters coming around to lay one down. Nick Wing jumps up to 5th quick. As Peters comes across 2nd quick. Scott Warren just about to take the green here in the This Is War number 76. And it looks like Warren is going to be the only one left to be able to lay a time down. Brian Chu, Dusty Burkhart, Mark McFadden, Chris Worrell, Jason Papp, John LaBombard, James Lowe, Tim Henderson, Connor Trafari, and Austin Collins all electing to not qualify and just let this thing tick on over. Good head of steam for Warren so far. Down the backstretch he comes. As we're going to pull up the dashboard here. 172, 171. So far, the quickest in Sector 1 that we have seen tonight. See him not deviating too much off that mustard line. Comes through the tri-oval with a good head of steam right down on the apron. Making this track just as short as he possibly can. And across the line, top of the pile. As that is actually going to do it for qualifying, as we're going to bring up tonight's starting grid. Scott Warren setting quick time with a 56.045. Ryan Decker going to be starting to his outside 33 thousandths behind. Brad Peters and Shane Posey going to make up row number 2, with row 3 going to Michael Anthony and Brian Tarnowski. Nick Wing and Ed DeBoer are going to start it from row number 4. Row 5 sees Joe Gautier and Chris Worrell. Gautier, the last one to lay a time in qualifying. Everyone else lined up via their iRating. So Worrell going to start in 10th. James Lowe, Connor Trafari in row 6. Row 7 is going to go to Dusty Burkhart and Austin Collin. Mark McFadden and Brian Chu making up row number 8. Row 9 goes to Tim Henderson and Jason Papp. Starting shotgun on the field all by his lonesome back there is John LaBombard. So 19 trucks slated to roll off here tonight. 60 or 75% fuel fill. As we're looking at 80 laps, the scheduled distance here from Talladega. Again, let us know who you're pulling for. We will try to highlight your favorite driver as the night wears on. Thank you all so much for making this part of your Friday evening. Of course, Miss Mickey checking in. She's going to be rooting for her favorite son. That, of course, is the driver of the number 1, Jason Papp. There he is, back there rocking the jockey colors tonight. Happy Veterans Day to all our men and women in the armed services. Or, sorry, it's, Veterans Day. All of those who served and those who are still serving, thank you so much for providing the freedoms that we enjoy here in the free world. As Tim Henderson having very bad connection issues right now, as the field starts to roll it behind the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing. Need to thank our big sponsors at Midwest Motor Customs. And iRacing iFlags. For all your paint needs, you need to contact Greg McConey. You can find Midwest Motor Customs on their Facebook page. As is always, when we come to these plate tracks every week, this is a game of patience. And how long can you last before your patience flatline? That is the question. "19 beautiful trucks rolling here tonight, as Tim Henderson has decided to go to pit road to try to fix his connection issues. So 18 trucks will take the green here tonight. Hopefully Tim can get that truck fired back up. And his router fired back up, for that matter. As a little bit different starting procedure here, considering pit road is another quarter-mile up the road from where it is at Daytona, the sister track to Talladega, the older sister. Some would say the prettier sister, but Talladega is definitely the bigger sister, considering that it's 2.66 miles as opposed to 2.53. So Warren has the button as the field works its way into the Geico restart zone. The thing you'll have to say is it's time to wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab the sunscreen because it's hot as blazes in Peanut Country. Race fans, it's showtime! Decker and Warren drag race coming into turn number 1. Decker with a nose out front. Geico restart zone is in effect tonight, as unfortunately Brad Peters starting to have some connection issues. With his field packed as tightly as it is, it's got to be unnerving for both Scott Warren and Michael Anthony down on that low side. And if you're ever in Talladega, Alabama, be sure to try the boiled peanuts. It's a different taste than you're probably used to with peanuts, but they're not bad. As Shane Posey gets shuffled out, looks like they're trying to take him 3 wide, thinking better of it, as here comes the 19 of Connor Trafari up on the high side. Rocking the United States Postal Service colors is Ryan Decker and Scott Warren. 1 and 2 at the line that time. Posey with some help from Tarnowski in the 28. Top 7 trucks, all Toyotas. Gautier Chevy on the bottom side, your highest running Silverado. Ed DeBoer trying to make something happen on the top shelf. Not a lot of help up there yet. Dusty Burkhart's trying to reel him in. Posey now shows the way. Tarnowski just barely able to squeak in there. Heads up driving from Ryan Decker. As we get ready to put lap 2 of 80 in the books. Posey, Tarnowski, Decker, Trafari, Warren, DeBoer, Lowe, Wing, Anthony, and Burkhart, your top 10 as they currently sit. Ed DeBoer trying to make something happen on the top shelf. There you see him in the Super Duty FX4 Ford F350. Okay, we'll go with it. So he drives a Dodge in another series. Anyways, Shane Posey shows the way. There he is. As Warren leaning on him, coming to the stripe, getting the daylight shoved out of him by Connor Trafari. Warren drops down to the low side, is not that comfortable being pushed through the corners, and look who's up in front, up towards the front already, sitting plus 14. That is the driver of the number 1 jockey Chevy. That is Jason Papp. Papp currently holds quick time of the race so far with a 51.98. And of course, is draft assisted. Trifari pulls alongside Warren coming through the tri-oval. Papp trying to safely push. Not quite as aggressive as Trifari was on Warren earlier. But Warren going to finally get that bonus point for leading the lap as James Lowe drops in between Ryan Decker and the 28 of Brian Tarnowski. There is Lowe in the Sim Cube number 99. Currently sitting +5. Tim Henderson has rejoined the field, although he's not up to pace with everyone else. He's about 10 mile an hour off, running by his lonesome, so the field is going to swallow him up here momentarily. Oh, what just happened to Trifari? Looks like Trifari and Burkhart may have caught a piece of each other. There you see Trifari in the United States Postal Service number 19 on the top side. Jason Papp pushing him through the short chute, leading into the tri-oval, and that's a bump draft gone wrong. Dusty Burkhart bails out in the Tennessee Vols. Oh, we got 2 Tennessee Vols trucks here tonight. But, yeah, that is definitely no bueno. As we're going to take a look to see what happened to Burkhart here. Oh, he got touched by the 5. Brian Chu just barely avoids that one. Lucky for Burkhart, he didn't hit anything. But Connor Trifari, that truck looks pretty much toast. About 1.5 feet shorter than it really should be. Well then. That brings out caution number 1. As looks like everybody coming pit side. Always come pit side whenever you can to at least get fuel in these things. With as hot as the track conditions are, luckily they have unlimited tires. So is Warren going to lead him down? Posey going to hit his box? Here comes Decker. Nick Wing passes through, gets credited with leading the lap. Tarnowski takes fuel only. Decker takes fuel only. Peters taking fuel only. Warren and everybody behind him all took 4. The Canadian contingent too strong here tonight, as there is Warren out of Windsor, Ontario, and there is the other Canadian out of Surrey, British Columbia. Mark McFadden driving the 48 here tonight, as something's going on with the 5 of Brad Peters. He towed it back to the pits, and I don't know why. He just went and put it on the hauler. Not sure what's going on there. Okay, then. Nick Wing currently has the lead of this piece. I would expect Wing to come down this time to at least top it off with fuel. So Wing, Tarnowski, Decker, Warren, Posey, McFadden, Lowe, Gautier, Chu, and Tim Henderson able to rally back to get back with the group. That was a timely caution for him because he was only maybe a lap and a half from going a lap down. As here comes Wing to bring it down pit side to get his service done. Decker and Warren both peeling off to top. A lot of guys coming down to top these off. You just pack them as full of fuel as they can get them. Lights should be going out on the Chevy Silverado pace truck, the official pace truck of iRacing this time by. Tarnowski going to have the button. Geico restart zone is in effect. Lights are out on the pace truck. Shane Posey, Brian Tarnowski, your front row. Mark McFadden and Tim Henderson, two of your biggest movers so far, as McFadden is up 12 in third. Henderson was slated to start pretty deep in this piece, currently sitting plus 13 in fourth. Aunt Mary, good to have you with us as always. Justin Summer pulling for James Lowe as well. And hats off to Jason's older brother. I believe that was the gentleman I met at Miami, if memory serves me correctly. So thank you for your service, sir. Field works its way into the 3-4 complex as Tarnowski does have the trigger. And he can fire anywhere inside the Geico restart zone. That's basically where the start-finish line would normally be in a standard tri-oval configuration of a track. So Tarnowski, Posey, McFadden, Henderson, Warren, Lowe, Chu, Papp, Gautier, and Dusty Burkhart rounding out your top 10 as we get ready to turn them loose. Only two trucks on that outside lane. If they get teamed up and start working together, they could get to the front very easily. As Tarnowski leads them into the Geico restart zone. Here we go.
Green flag, green flag.
Green flag is back out as we're getting ready to put lap 8 in the books. And Mark McFadden missed a shift. Either that or Tarnowski just took off and said, F it. It's now Posey and Henderson in the slipstream of Tarnowski. Throw a blanket over your top 3 as here comes McFadden, who rolled into the trigger. Canadian on Canadian action as Scott Warren was trying to get by him. So here comes McFadden with a good head of steam. He's going to pick up Scott Warren on the top shelf. Right now, Tarnowski leads it in his Toyota. Here comes the Ford of McFadden working the top shelf with the Toyota of Warren. 3 Toyotas in the top 4 right now. Highest running Chevy belongs to Tim Henderson in the 91. There he is in the black Dubby car. Tarnowski going to lead that lap. McFadden still chugging away on the top side. Now they've got some help as James Lowe jumps up to that second shelf. 3 trucks can be faster than 2, especially if they know what they're doing in the draft. And you got 3 of them that are some of the best in the business right now, as you've got McFadden, Warren, Lowe, and Gautier all up there. McFadden peels on out to go top shelf. Does not want to be the front of that freight train. Gautier drops back down to the first lane. 3 wide as McFadden continues to backslide. Warren going to lead that one. 3 wide back here with Jason Papp. Mark McFadden and the 29 of Austin Collins. This field looks about as organized right now as the freeway during rush hour traffic. Tarnowski, Posey, Lowe, Gautier, and Papp. Your top 5 is Papp and Gautier running side by side. Papp on the top shelf, Gautier on the low side as Papp is working with Lowe to try to get up towards the front. A little bit of sketchiness as nobody seems to be that stable right now as Chris Worrell back with the series. Here he is in the number 6. Good to see Chris back after having that COVID scare last week. Doing a ton better as we've got contact. Papp goes for a ride.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
And Lowe, that was Chris Worrell that ate the wall. Back this up a little bit is keep your eye on Chris Worrell in the 6. It's going to pop off right in front of him. As I believe it was Posey and Papp getting into each other. It was either that or Tarnowski and Papp getting into each other going into 3. Brian Chu wisely backs out of it because he saw how sketchy it was getting in front of him. And, yep, Tarnowski just pushed up the track. Austin Collins, Chris Worrell, both catching a huge piece of that one. And just like that, we are under caution number 2. We're going to step away, pay a couple bills, and we'll be back right after this.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
And we are back just as the pace truck goes down below the mustard stripe. James Lowe going to have the button this time as he brings the field into the tri-oval and eventually into the Geico restart zone. After caution number 2 comes to a close. Lap 15 getting ready to be put in the books as here we go.
Green, green, green.
Lowe holds him down, rolls into it. Tarnowski looks like he might have spun the tires. James Lowe right now is a sitting duck as Gautier and DeBoer go side by side for second. DeBoer on the high side, Gautier on the low side. Everybody flirting with that apron going through 1 and 2. That is not ideal. Connor Trafari and Brad Peters have both decided to call it a night. It leaves us with 17 trucks still running and all on the lead lap and all in the same pack. So that's the good news. Bad news if you're James Lowe right now, though, is you have no help on that low side as Mark McFadden too far back to really help going through the tri-oval as Tarnowski and Gautier working very well together. Posey up there as well. Gautier going to get the lap. Tarnowski, Posey, and here comes Scott Warren sent out out of a cannon. Lowe going to go up and pick up the 76. This is War Toyota of Scott Warren. Bump drafting at its finest here at Talladega, round number 10 of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series. Thank you so much for making this a part of your Friday evening. My name is Tony Trapasso. You are watching Sim Racing Media, and if you haven't done so already, I've noticed in the analytics of these videos that we put up, over half of you that watch these videos aren't yet subscribed. And I got to ask you, what are you waiting on? Because we've got a lot of racing coming up here on the channel. As a matter of fact, we're going to be doing a special live stream tomorrow night, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Let me double check that time for you. Yes, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, as Sim Racing Media Reviews makes its return to the channel. And for those of you wondering what Sim Racing Reviews is, whenever a new racing game or alleged simulator comes out, one of our guys has it, does a live stream, shares their screen with those of us in the peanut gallery, and we give you our honest thoughts on whatever racing sim or simulator game, whatever you want to call it, is. If you remember the first one we did, it was for the NHRA Championship Drag Racing, which is a little lackluster. There's some other titles out there that are much more sim-esque, if you will. But we're about ready to see what WRC, I believe it's Generations. Yes, WRC Generations, which came out this week. We will be reviewing that tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Be sure to tune in for that one. It's going to be a barrel of laughs. It's going to turn into grudge racing sooner or later, because the person who's going to be actually playing the game hates to lose. So he's going to be ultra competitive, and you're going to hear a normally stoic man probably use words and phrases that you would never expect him to use. But you might want to put the kids to bed early before tuning into that one, because it's definitely a PG-13, NC-17 type of rating. Meanwhile, back to the action here as we're getting ready to put lap 20 of 80 in the books. Coming up to 1/4 of the way as Scott Warren gets split. Coming to the line. Give it to Dusty Burkhart on the high side in the 69 at the stripe. Burkhart now falls back as, unfortunately, he lost his help. Gautier, though, on the low side, has James Lowe glued to his back bumper right now. Unfortunately, we haven't seen what an actual green flag run is going to do for these guys as far as how far can they go, as unfortunately we've had 2 cautions here tonight and everybody's topped off there, so they didn't have to top off later. Slanja. Jason Papp making his way back up through the field as he's got Ed DeBoer right behind him. Almost a 3-wide situation back there with Austin Collins. Austin Collins, John LeBombard, and Michael Anthony as LeBombard wisely backs out of it. Troubles continue for Tim Henderson as he's a full half track behind these guys, just running by his lonesome. Brian Chu has also dropped back, although he does have the draft in front of him. But the 29 of Collins is going to have to get to the top side because that damage is definitely hampering him as clean air hits the front of that truck, and it's like hitting a brick right now. Meanwhile, up in front, Scott Warren on the top side with Chris Worrell up there with him. Good recovery drive for Worrell as Warren bails out. Let's go let Jason Papp get to the back bumper of the balls out Ginger, number 6. So the Toyota of Scott Warren, the Chevy of Joe Gautier, the Toyota of Chris Worrell, the Chevy of Jason Papp, the Chevy of James Lowe, the Ford of Ed DeBoer. One of only a handful of Fords here tonight, 3 Fords to be exact. And the highest running currently sits in 5th. There he is on the top shelf right behind Jason Papp. As is the case normally with Scott Warren, he leads the lap, then bails out to go to the back, trying to make sure he's got his timing perfect. As DeBoer drops down in front of... DeBoer dropped down in front of Gautier as Chris Worrell dropped down in front of DeBoer. That could have ended poorly. They're now 3 wide through the tri-oval for the lead. Worrell on the low side. Papp getting a good shove. Papp with the nose out front at the stripe. Give the lap to Papp. As everybody so far playing nicely. Only a couple of oops took place earlier. Everybody seems to have calmed down a little bit as we continue to crank them off here. Lap 25 of 80 here tonight from Talladega. You know what? We're going to go on board with Jason Papp just to see what he's seeing. two damaged trucks in the form of Jason Papp and Chris Worrell battling for the lead. Dusty Burkhart pushing the daylights out of Jason Papp right now. You can see the damage on that Tennessee Vols Chevy. Here comes the 24 DeBoer. He's got Warren with him as we're 3 wide now coming through the trioval. Give that one to Worrell by half a fender. And they are fast approaching Tim Henderson right now. Henderson about to go a lap down, so league rule is get to the high side. The only problem is there's trucks up there. This is going to end poorly. DeBoer looked like he was trying to pick up the 91. Drops down to the middle lane now as Worrell still with a good head of steam. Gautier showing the daylights out of him. James Lowe right there within striking distance as well. 29 in the books. Working lap 30 of 80. 51 to go here tonight as part of round 10 of the iRacing East Superspeedway Series. Let's take a quick look at the weather conditions as they currently sit. We have cooled off just a tick as we are under cloudy skies right now, negligible wind, only 37% relative humidity, so no chance of it raining. And that track temperature is already cooled off by about 3 degrees from when we started qualifying. Still 3 wide running here at Talladega. So much easier to do it here than it is at the sister track Daytona. Oy, Worrell just got shuffled. A little bump draft almost gone horribly wrong as Worrell down on the apron has the room to get up. He's going to slot back in as here comes the 29 of Austin Collins. Collins going to let his balls out teammate get back up there. As Michael Anthony works the top shelf. Look for Worrell to team up with Anthony. And there they go up into that second lane. And that's when these guys are so dangerous. Balls Out Racing crew is not afraid to take it 3 wide. As Anthony now drops down to the low side. Gautier right now, though, with the nose out front. James Lowe shoving him. Dusty Burkhart pushing on Jason Papp. Drag race to the line. Give it to Gautier by half a truck length. Ed DeBoer not having a good time of it right now. As you can see that damage on the hood of that Super Duty Ford F350. Papp going to pick up DeBoer. Peels out to make sure that Burkhart gets some cool air to his radiator. Papp going to cycle. Boy! I just had a Code Brown moment, and I'm not even on track. As Worrell and Burkhart just almost got into each other. And here we go. Green flag pit stops. The usual suspects there. Posey, Tarnowski, Gautier, and Henderson. These guys always try to cycle through early. He hands the lead of the race over to Scott Warren. Dusty Burkhart Chevy back there as well. Jason Papp Chevy, third truck on the low side. Highest running Ford belongs to Mark McFadden in the 48. There he is on the low shelf. Dusty Burkhart's Ford right behind him. John LeBombard is the caboose in this straight train as the only other Ford in the field. James Lowe and Chris Worrell teaming up now as Lowe does have the clear. Worrell also has the clear as they come through the tri-oval. They're both going to hang Jason Papp out to dry. Pap went to go with him, and unfortunately, they didn't have all three cleared. But luckily, Dusty Burkhart letting Jason Pap back in. So right around 20 laps is all you're going to be able to see out of a tank of fuel here tonight. At least that's what we have seen so far. Yep, here comes the second wave. And everybody else getting single filed, so you know they're coming at least within the next 2 laps. Lowe, Pap, Burkhart, McFadden, Anthony Decker, Wing, Chu, and LeBombard running stem to stern right now. LeBombard falling off just a little bit, trying to reel these guys back in towards the front. There he is in the Crown Royal, number 95. Digging that throwback scheme. And here we go. Here comes the rest of them as Jason Pap charges the line. Just barely gets it down to that 55-mile-an-hour speed limit at the cone. And if it's a 55-mile-an-hour speed limit like I think it is, some of these guys are about to get popped. Well, so far, so good. Everybody down and away cleanly. Michael Anthony going to win the battle off pit road. Lowe, Chu, Burkhart, Pap, Decker, Wing, McFadden. And here comes Worrell, all by his lonesome. Those guys have to stay below that mustard line till they get to the blue cone. There it is. Now they can start merging up. Worrell, though, with a good head of steam. 8 mile an hour, 9 mile an hour difference right now as he runs side by side with Jason Pap and Ryan Decker. Nick Wing going to cut him off from going to the low side as well. And here comes Tarnowski and company. Meanwhile, though, Michael Anthony leading his first laps of this event. James Lowe, Brian Chu, all three of those teammates working very well together tonight. Brian Chu and Jason Pap currently tied for biggest mover. There is Chu. And if it wasn't bad enough what happened about a month ago in his hometown, they are in the direct path again. So thoughts and prayers going out to all our friends in Florida. Stay safe, and we'll see you back on track whenever you can. But, yeah, second hurricane in just about a month's time, getting ready to touch down, make landfall anyways. So, again, thoughts and prayers going out to all our friends in Florida. That includes Jason Pap out of Palm Bay. As he's currently running on the bottom side of 3 wide as Chu bails out. Wisely backs out of it. Anthony bails out, hands the lead of the race back over to James Lowe. Lowe must have been running a little bit hot. Pied Piper of Portsmouth, Virginia. Currently shows the way. Tarnowski trying to make something happen with Gauthier and Posey in that middle lane. As we are fast approaching the halfway mark. Getting ready to put lap 38 of 80 in the books here tonight. First round of green flag pit stops done and dusted. About 20 laps is all we're going to see. So we are going to step away and hear from our sponsors.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
Just past the halfway mark here at Talladega, round number 10 of the iRacing E Superspeedway Series. So much pass open the booth with you for this one. Tarnowski and James Lowe going door to door as those three me teammates hooked up on the top shelf as Tarnowski drops down in front of Lowe. It's going to give Gautier now a shot with Posey on the top shelf. Scott Warren up there as well. That's Tarnowski and Gautier door to door coming into the tri-oval. Good head of steam for both of them. Gautier by about half a truck so far as Tarnowski battles back. Give it to Gautier by half a truck. Still side by side at the front of this piece as Gautier now drops down. That opens the door for Posey. It seems to be what everybody's doing right now. They're playing, well, my track coach used to call it an Indian relay, where whoever's at the back drives up on the outside and gets in front and kind of stalls the bottom lane out a little bit. Let the next person have their shot at leading this piece. There is John LeBombard and Mark McFadden. As McFadden is a lap down. LeBombard in danger of going a lap down, not too distant in the future. It's now Jason Papp inherits the lead as Posey drops to the low side. Oy! That would have been the second time tonight we saw something go horribly wrong through the tri-oval. Posey by half a truck. Papp going to try to battle back again. Got all the drafting help he needs in the form of both Chris Worrell and Ed DeBoer. Down the super stretch they come as... Oh, there it goes. And I have no idea how that's not a caution. Let's watch that one again. It's Worrell. It's a little too aggressive off a two. Papp hits the transition. Bump draft gone wrong as it spits. Oy. It spits Posey down the track. Posey immediately tows it as the engine in that truck wasted absolutely no time hand grenading. Wow. So Papp is backed out. DeBoer now leads the top side. Here they go through 3 and 4 again. DeBoer now drops down. That hands the reins of the top shelf over to Scott Warren. He's got the lap truck of Tim Henderson. Was up there with him. Henderson drops down in front of Tarnowski. Give that lap to DeBoer. All-important bonus point for the 24 here tonight. Not running too shabbily. Pride of Cadillac, Michigan, currently showing the way around here as we are going to be 30 laps to go as they hit the stripe this time by. $50 in the books, 30 to go here tonight from Talladega. Worrell, Anthony, oh, that's dangerous. Worrell, Anthony, Lowe, and Chu running stem to stern on the top shelf. That is bad intentions. As Worrell bails out to throw the block on DeBoer. Gives Michael Anthony a good head of steam, getting pushed out of turn number 4 by James Lowe. Here comes the next round of pit stops. They're looking to stretch this tank as far as they can and hopefully be able to get it done in just one more stop. But they're going to have a big ask out of this tank. Everybody was last down pit road at the latest, lap 35. Michael Anthony currently shows the way, working lap 52. Worrell jumps up. I don't know if he got shuffled or if he just wanted to go to the back. Anthony, Lowe, Chu, your top 3. Scott Warren was your pole sitter, currently back in 4th. Chu, currently your biggest mover at plus 13, running in 3rd back there in the blue Monster Energy Toyota. Unfortunately, that is Dusty Burkhart. No, I'm sorry. That's Austin Collins in the 29. Sorry, Dusty. I saw Tennessee and got confused. Of course, that's easy for me to do because reasons. The question is, how far can they stretch these tanks? As we are currently sitting 65% fuel fill tonight. So definitely going to need to turn the wick up a little bit if you want to make it happen. Here comes, looks like the second wave of Ed DeBoer and Chris Worrell and Austin Collins. Throw a blanket over your top 4. Michael Anthony, James Lowe, Brian Chu, Scott Warren, right there. Then you've got Dusty Burkhart, Nick Wing, Jason Papp, and Ryan Decker. As Mark McFadden and the 95 of John LeBombard. McFadden just went a second lap down. LeBombard just went a lap down. And here comes everybody except Brian Chu. And Nick Wing. And Jason Papp. And Ryan Decker. Okay, so only our top 4 peeled up. Anthony, Warren, Lowe, and Burkhart. If these guys can get another 2 laps anyways, maybe 3 laps out of this tank, you should be in you can make it from here territory. Everybody else is going to have to stop for a splash and go later on. Fort Myers, Florida owned Brian Chu shows the way in that Monster Energy Toyota. Nick Wing, Ryan Decker, and Jason Papp all staying out. Nope, Papp's coming down. Chu's coming down. That is Mark McFadden, sorry, who was last down on lap 37. He was one of the last ones to pit last time we had to do green flag pit stops. So that's Wing and Decker now, the two Dudes Racing teammates. Each one looking to punch their ticket into the playoffs. And from the looks of it, Nick Wing's truck has either backed into a telephone pole or has been a victim of a bump draft gone horribly wrong. My money's on telephone pole. Chu now leads the freight train off of pit road. And here comes Michael Anthony and company. Decker and Wing finally peel it off. These guys are really going to have to turn the wick down if they want to make it from here. And I can promise you this, if they have to turn the wick down, James Lowe is going to be using words and phrases that Aunt Mary probably shouldn't know about. He made his thoughts on fuel saving at a plate track crystal clear last week. See what this first true flyer is going to hand us as Warren and Lowe break away. Michael Anthony drops back as Dusty Burkhart and Brian Chu with a good head of steam coming up on him like a freight train. Chris Worrell swings out. Ed DeBoer goes with him. Lap 55 and 56 were because of the pit stop. They're still trying to get those trucks back up to speed. This lap, there you go, 52.74. Still right on pace of where we've seen just about all race long. Michael Anthony jumps back up in front. Chris Worrell now takes over the top side. He's got Ed DeBoer and Brian Chu with him. Dusty Burkhart closes in on the bottom side. Fourth truck in line. And you can throw a blanket over your top 10 right now as Nick Wing is the caboose in that bottom lane freight train. There he is in the Brandt number 10 Toyota. Decker and Wing both trying something new tonight, as I think this is one of the rare times I've seen Nick in a Toyota. I think it's the first time I've ever seen Ryan in one. Michael Anthony shows the way right now. Right as it sits, it's an all balls Garana lockout for the top 3 spots, as they have 3 in the top 4 and 4 in the top 5. $20 to go. Anthony shows the way. Worrell leading the top side as that's Jason Papp that just peeled out to jump up to that second lane, trying to get 4 trucks going. Ed DeBoer seemed to be a little bit hesitant to really push aggressively on Chris Worrell's Toyota. Dusty Burkhart moves up into fourth. Worrell and company starting to fade in that second lane. They've got to get a little more organized. Michael Anthony shows the way. Here comes Scott Warren on the top side. He wants to lead the charge, and this is War Toyota. As they come through 1 and 2, Chris Worrell up there with him, working very well together. Anthony and Lowe on the low side. Drag race down the back straightaway. Warren. Half a truck length, now full truck length, now back to half a truck length. Good. As here comes Anthony battling back on that low side. Door quarter beer. $19 laps to go. It'll be 18 at the line. James Lowe continues to push the daylights out of his falls out teammate, Michael Anthony, on the low lane. Scott Warren, Chris Worrell, and Ed DeBoer working the top shelf. They've got Brian Chu for help, and I believe Jason Papp is up there. Yes, he is. Throw a blanket over your top 10, folks, as we are 2 wide, 5 deep. Worrell and Warren gets a good run down the back straightaway. Warren has the clear, but he's not dropping down because he's seen what has happened all night long. He has no choice, and there we go.
Yellow, yellow, yellow.
All right, then. That kind of sucked. As we are going to back this up a lap. So you're going to see Scott Warren get a run off of turn 2 on the top side. There you see him, and this is War 76. Chris Worrell's balls out, or Balscarana, number 6, right behind him. So Warren gets the clear there, and instead of dropping down, he tries to stay up with Chris Worrell. Worrell, though, goes to the high side. Warren drops down way too late. Michael Anthony's there. Oi. Here's Michael Anthony. There you see him in the middle lane. Or on the low lane, I mean. So Warren drops down and just stacks up that low side. Ryan Decker is not going to be a happy camper after getting put into the wall there. Michael Anthony's probably ready to spit nails. Well then, that changes the complexion of this race immensely. As we are now back under caution. And this should be the money stop. You can make it the regular time distance from here. As Brian Chu took fuel only. Everybody else looks like they're taking 4 in fuel. I take that back. Scott Warren, fuel only. Ed DeBoer takes 4. Brian Tarnowski took fuel only. Nick Wing took 2. Joe Gautier took 4. Everybody else having to do damage repair. So, I'm going to rack them, stack them, and try that again. We're going to step away for our final break, and we'll be back right after this.
What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime. What's up, guys? Roger Debo, front tire changer for the 45 Alpha Prime car. You're watching Sim Racing Media.
And we are back. Going to restart with 14 to go. Warren, Chu, Tarnowski, Wing, Gautier, Pap, DeBoer, Burkhart, Lowe, and Tim Henderson round out your top 10 as we currently sit. You have a lot of pissed off drivers back there, though.
Green flag, green
As
flag.
Warren leads them into the Geico restart zone, pulls the trigger, and we are back underway. Tarnowski starts to go with him. Tarnowski getting a decent shove from Joe Gautier right now. On the low side, those two Monster Energy trucks both putting in work right now as they're pushing their respective lanes. Gautier a little more aggressive on Tarnowski than Chu is on Warren. Tarnowski leads by a truck length. Gautier and Warren still side by side for second. Coming out of turn number 4. We are going to be 13 to go at the line. Place your bets, folks. This is where it gets good.
Yellow flag is out.
Well then. What on earth just happened to Ed DeBoer? Let's find out. There you see him, third truck in line on the low side. Comes into the tri-oval, catches a little bit of apron. Jason Papp just got turned. So keep your eye on the jockey red, white, and blue Chevy of Jason Papp on the top side, the number 1 truck. Third truck in line. Gets a bump draft gone wrong by James Lowe. There. Which pushes him sideways and down into DeBoer. And DeBoer gets spit up the track, as does Tim Henderson get spit down the track. And pirouettes for DeBoer. More carnage continues for the 3 of Ryan Decker. Mark McFadden catching a piece of that one. Let's watch that again in real time here. And it was just that quick. John LeBombard also catching a piece. I don't think anybody escaped that one, except maybe Brian Tarnowski. And that is one toasted Ford. Fourth caution of the night. These guys have gone green to checker without a caution 3 of the last 5 weeks. And that includes the All-Star race. Of course you are, Miss Sally. I'd be remiss if I didn't mention that you were pulling for... There he is. Our good friend Mark McFadden out of Surrey, British Columbia. Sally, did I ever tell you the joke a buddy of mine from Bowmanville, Ontario told me about how you guys named your country? Threw a whole bunch of consonants in a bag, picked them out one at a time. C, A, N, A, D, A. Get your hate mail coming now, folks. So checking in with Brian Tarnowski out of Waukesha, Wisconsin. Currently showing the way here tonight. Solid run out of the 28 camp. So Tarnowski, Gautier, Warren, Chu, Pap, Lowe, Decker, Burkhart, Anthony, and Wing round out your top 10. Only 12 trucks on the lead lap. That includes Tim Henderson 11th, Chris Worrell back in 12th. But the good news is, if you're a Mark McFadden fan, one more caution and he's got the free pass. So he will be back on the lead lap, provided he's not the cause of said caution or the victim of circumstance of said caution, as we have seen way too many times to be able to say it'll never happen. Live by the sword, drive by the sword here on the plate tracks is so easy to get caught up in someone else's dumpster fire that you get hit with so many rights you're begging for a left. So Tarnowski's going to have the button. Geico restart zone is in effect. We are currently 10 to go. We are going to be 9 laps to go on the restart. As the pace truck makes that lazy left turn down below the mustard stripe. Tarnowski brings him into the tri-oval. Here comes the Geico restart zone. He can pull the trigger whenever he likes in that zone, or he can wait till the end of it and just roll into it with everybody else. Rolls into it that time. Gautier goes with him. Team communications going on there. As that's going to open the door for Warren to get to the low side. And that's dangerous on the top shelf as Brian Chu and James Lowe now work the top side. Here comes Gautier working with Warren. Gautier really had no choice as they're 3 wide down the back chute. Tarnowski wisely bailing out of it. Trying to get back to at least double file before the turn. Doesn't look like that's possible. Now they are. Chris Worrell trying to make his own lane up through the middle. Chris, I don't think that's going to work too well right now. Gauthier and Warren on the low side. Gauthier shows the way. Monster on monster crime right now as Brian Chu in the blue Monster Toyota works the top shelf. Green Monster Energy Chevy on the low side for Gauthier. 8 laps to go here at Talladega. Gauthier, Chu, Warren, Lowe, Pap, Anthony, Tarnowski, Decker, Henderson, and Worrell, your top 10 as we currently sit. Mark McFadden in the free pass position. Should we get another caution? Everybody's still jockeying for position here. Give that lap to Chu by half a fender. Chu leads the top side. He's got Lowe and Anthony for company. In very safe hands and secure hands right now. Scott Warren and Joe Gauthier on the low side with Jason Papp and Brian Tarnowski there for their fourth on the tee box. Chu wisely stays up, stays with his balls out teammates. Papp looking for an opening to try to make a move on Gauthier right now. Nothing doing. As Gauthier and Warren are protecting that mustard line like it was their firstborn child. Chu letting Lowe get some clean air to his radiator. As you can see, a little bit of front end damage on the 99 of James Lowe. A little bit more damage on the 8 of Michael Anthony as well. A little bit of side drafting. As here comes Worrell and the 10 of Wing up in the third lane. Both of them not afraid to hang it out there. Lowe jumps up to throw the block on his teammate. Oi. Chu now goes up. As you've got 3 balls out racing trucks running stem to stern on that third lane. 3 wide, 5 to go. Chu, Warren, and Gauthier, your front runners right now. 2 Toyotas and the lone Chevy on the low side. 4 Chevys in the middle lane. A Chevy and 4 Toyotas in the middle lane. Scott Warren gets pushed around. Oy. Jason Papp sent him up the track whether he wanted to go or not. Now Papp is pushing on Gauthier. 4 to go this next time by. Warren and Gauthier still in lockstep, coming through 1 and 2. Down the back straightaway they come. Drag race going into turn number 3. Let's take a look at the speeds right now. Gauthier, 183 miles an hour, getting the daylight shoved out of him by Jason Papp. 186, 185 as they haul it off into turn number 3. That's sketch. Definitely a first you say it, then you do it kind of moment when you realize just how fast you're going. Three to go. Warren and Gauthier still show the way. Lowe trying to make something happen on that top lane. Jason Papp currently boxed in on the low side, right behind Joe Gautier. Here comes Warren on the top shelf as he's got Ryan Decker and Nick Wing with him. It'll be popsicle sticks in the air. There's a little bit of bumping and banging coming off of 4. Everybody keeps them pointed in the right direction. Just a lot of movement going on there. And here we go. 2 laps to go. Just over 5 miles left in this piece. Warren, Gautier, Decker, Papp, Wing, Lowe, Tarnowski, Chu, Anthony, and Henderson, your top 4. 3 Balls Guarana trucks wound up on the top shelf. Can they make it happen? And the answer is no. As Scott Warren goes up to throw the block, this has bad intentions written all over it. Ryan Decker now leads that second lane. His teammate, Nick Wing, shoving the daylights out of him, giving him a good shove as Warren goes down into Wing. Everybody keeps pointed in the right direction. Another 100 yards. Can we get there? No, we can't. We're going into overtime. Holy Christmas. And keep your eye on Jason Papp in the lone lane here. There you see him in the 1 on the low side. Time to play another game of whack ouch. Let's try to see if we can dissect what happened here. Here they are coming into the tri-oval. Wing is pushing on Decker. Lowe just shoves Warren out of the way. Decker goes for a ride. Lowe eats the wall. Scott Warren's night is now over. Jason Papp gets hit, spun, flipped up, and smacked back down. Judges score for the tandem double sow cows, 8.6, 8.6, 8.6, 1.2 from the Romanian judge. Yeah. Oh, those guys are waiting on the pace truck there. Let's watch this one more time. This is what the blimp picked up. Keep your eye on the 76 on the top side. As Lowe gets into him, that was net code. He was already turned before Lowe got to him. That was absolute net code. But what wasn't net code is what happened next. Watch the birdie. And I'm being told that Jason Papp just did a McTwist. That's what that skateboard move is called. Just like that, we are going into overtime. Sounds fun. Unfortunately, Jason Papp has left the building. Folks, remember what I said about being a Mark McFadden fan? he should get the free pass this time by. Or not? The hell? Okay. No idea what that was all about. So let's try this again. Uh-huh. Let's go out on the pace truck. Go Joe Gautier electing to take the outside lane this time on the restart. And again, if you haven't done so already, folks, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you don't miss a single moment of action here anytime on Sim Racing Media. As tomorrow night, we've got a special treat for you as Sim Racing Media Reviews makes its return. $8 p.m. Saturday evening, we will be going to SRM Reviews World Rally Generations, WRC Generations. New game that came out this past week. Allegedly one of the best in a long time. We will let you know what our honest opinion is right here on Saturday night. Green flag comes back out for what we hope will be the final time tonight. Tarnowski and Gautier drag race going into turn number 1. Anthony with a good head of steam. Anthony's got Brian Chu with him. Almost. As Gautier's going to have to pick a lane. He drops down. Oy. Tarnowski almost gets into the apron. Coming out of turn number 4. Flagger has the white flag in his hand. Can we get there? Yes, we can. We are racing back to checkers. It all comes down to this. Michael Anthony leads. Joe Gautier on the bottom side. Brian Chu and Nick Wing working the top shelf. They got Mark McFadden with them. Wing not pushing on Chu as much as Chu is going to need him to. Oi. Well, can't say I didn't see that one coming. Brian Chu with the nose out front. Coming through the tri-oval for the final time. 3 wide for second. Brian Chu punches his ticket into the playoffs. Nick Wing comes home in second. Michael Anthony rounds out your podium. Dusty Burkhart, Tim Henderson, all right there as well. Henderson, Gautier, Tarnowski, and Lowe all finishing relatively off pace. As we are actually going to reach out now. We are going to reach out now to the favorite son of Fort Myers, Florida. Brian, you punched your ticket into the playoffs. Congratulations.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I got you.
Yeah, it's pretty good finish there. I was trying to help Michael there, but I think Joe just got underneath me. So I went back to the outside. Unfortunately, I think Wing was pushing me there. I had pretty good momentum. And I know they were kind of wrecking behind me there. So just kind of raced to the line, but I know me and Michael were trying to help each other at the end, and basically worked out for me. So we'll take it.
A lot of unhappy campers right now. What were you hearing as the overtime flag came out? And
what
keep
were the
it
unhappy campers saying?
Keep it PG.
I know there was a bunch of wrecking going on behind me, and I don't know if they were unhappy that there was a green-white checkered or it should have been a finish. I don't know, but I don't know. Just a lot of guys racing door to door and banging each other, just normal Talladega racing. So yeah.
Absolutely. Is Brian, we are taking, or no, we will be here next week. I'm sorry. We will be here in the next gen cars. What are your thoughts going into those whips here at the biggest?
Yeah, I mean, next gens, I like trucks the best. Trucks and Xfinity cars the best, but I've won here too in next gen. Just got to have the right guys helping you. Hey, it's kind of the same thing with these plate track racing. You're gonna have to just try to stay out of the big ones, obviously. So just have some friends, find some friends, have guys pushing you good, and stay out of the trouble, and we'll try to get another one.
All right, Nick, who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
Thank my mom and dad if they're watching. They're still down there in Fort Myers, so prayers are still with Fort Myers. We actually just got hit by another hurricane, Florida.
Yeah.
So it's just like can't catch a break kind of a thing. I'm a big Joe Gibbs supporter. Obviously, the loss of Coy Gibbs past week. Just a shout out to the Gibbs family. Pretty sad about that. So, shout out to them. Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, Bucker, iRacing, iFlag. And Jason for running the league. I appreciate what he does every weekend and week out, and Greg McConey. And then teammates there, balls out, and Chris Worrell, he's a good friend of mine. So thanks Chris for helping me out each week. So appreciate all them.
All right, Brian Chu, congratulations on the win. We'll see you next week in the next gens.
Appreciate.
Joining me now, the man that just came up a tick short, not for lack of trying though, Nick Wing. Another podium, and that's definitely going to help your cause in pointing your way into the playoffs so far.
Yep, and I'm pretty sure that's the only way it's going to happen.
Well, take it from an old vet. Just keep plugging away at it and doing what you do, and it'll fall your way sooner or later.
That's the way I usually go.
But, Nick, we come back next week in the next-gen cars, just before we take a break for Thanksgiving here in the States. What are your thoughts as we come back to the scene of the crime here tonight?
Going to be boring racing.
Okay, fair enough. Well, Nick, we're going to let you go celebrate the podium with your team. Who do you need to thank before we turn you loose?
I'd like to thank Dudes Racing and Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, Racing iFlags, Buck Kicker, and Midwest Motors Customs, and Decker for the last 10 laps of Spine, or the 5 laps.
Well, there you go then. Again, Nick Wing, congratulations on a podium. We will see you next week in the Next Gens.
Yep.
And joining us now, the driver of the Balls Garana number 8, the Bambino out of Boston, Massachusetts. Michael Anthony, congratulations on yet another podium.
I like that one. Yeah, I wanted to win tonight, but coming out of 4, that wreck happened, and the guys behind me just had way too much of a run. It was a fun race. I'm glad it could be somewhat entertaining for the broadcast.
Yeah, it absolutely was. I mean, a little more crash heavy than I would have liked to have seen, but everything that happened tonight was just a bump draft gone wrong.
Yeah, it's what it seemed like. I got lucky to just hang in the back and avoid most of them. So worked out on this end, but yeah, it seemed like there was a lot of bump drafting gone wrong tonight.
Absolutely, but it's going to be an even bigger issue next week as we come back in the next gen cars. What are your thoughts as we return to Talladega next week?
Is it Talladega again? I feel like we haven't been at Daytona in forever.
And back-to-back Degas.
Yeah, that'll be fun. The next gens, with the updates they've keep putting out for them, they get better and better on the Superspeedway, so that'll be fun to go out there again on those.
All right, Mike, who do you need to thank before we turn you loose? And don't leave because I got to show you something after we go off the air.
Will do. My team, first off, Balls Out Racing. Jason for putting on the league, Tony, you for putting on the broadcast, Circle B Diecast, Rowdy Energy, iRacing, iFlag, Butt Kicker, Midwest Motor Customs. Yeah, it's a good race tonight.
All right, Mike, again, congratulations on another podium. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, sir.
So Brian Chu, Nick Wing, Michael Anthony, we just heard from our podium finishers. Dusty Burkhart, Tim Henderson, round out your top 5. Joe Gautier, Brian Tarnowski, James Lowe, John LeBombard, Mark McFadden, round out your top 10. Chris Worrell, Jason Papp, Scott Warren, Ryan Decker, and Ed DeBoer, your top 15. That's the button I need. Austin Collins, Shane Posey, Brad Peters, and Connor Trifari, rounding out your field of starters. That is going to do it for us tonight. Again, be sure to join us tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time as Sim Racing Media Reviews makes its return with WRC Generations. I'm excited for that one. But until we see you again, folks, this is Tony Trapasso reminding you, ladies and gentlemen, that as you walk down the road of life this week, whatever you do, please don't play in traffic. Thoughts and prayers going out to our friends in Florida. Good night, everybody.